Started. Welcome to Commissioner's Court. Please silence your cell phones and your pagers. You have them on. Remember, this is a public meeting, not a public hearing, so let's please abide by the rules set forth. I'm going to start with roll call. Commissioner Yauer.
Here.
Commissioner Rosales.
Here.
Judge Shaw here. Commissioner Schindel.
Here.
Commissioner Hummel.
Here.
Carol Sweezy with the County Clerk's Office. Here. Please stand and join us in opening prayer and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with us as we make decisions for Karns and guide us in the best way to lead our citizens. We also ask that you be with our troops wherever they may be, and that you be with our family and friends as they travel in this weather. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That might push our presentation times back.
I need these
6 or 7 minutes for the jails. Is that okay, Beto? We okay by that? So you want to go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay, Mr. Shakami?
Y'all working from the bottom way up, huh? Well, this number 7 that I put on that paper has nothing to do with myself running against Mr. Hummel. It has to do with the individual that's in that position that might or might not be reelected. So whoever's going to be in charge of this ought to be somebody that's going to be around for a while. That's how I feel about that. And number 21, I think they ought to get more money because it's not cheap out there trying to do what that gentleman's trying to do on serving the warrants. And last but definitely not least, number 22 for myself, y'all need to give the sheriff whatever he needs. Whatever he asks for, he ought to get it. I don't know about any of y'all had any thieving or anybody coming on any of your property, but we could sure use a whole lot more deputies and they could sure use a whole lot more equipment. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tommy.
You're welcome.
Hannah Hall?
I was just speaking on consideration of recent unexpected news in regards to us not receiving the grant. We do need to have someone in a position that is going to carry us all the way through these phases if indeed these phases continue to carry forth. It seems it would be viable to reconsider the important aspect of employing a qualified and experienced someone in the field, someone that has a qualified eye, someone that knows contractual work as an owner representative or a constructional consultant in order to be aware of the important contractual and constructional occurrences and to serve the best interest of the county throughout this process that is an enormous project in which many counties have had great difficulty. I'd also like to ask, in lieu of not receiving the grant, I think a lot of people are concerned if we end up funding a lot of this ourselves as a county, are we going to be held obligated to the rules and regulations of the THC? I know that New Oasis County right now, the one that they have fenced off, they're obligated to the THC to the year of 2027 for that building for a $3 million grant that they took in the year 2003. They had an engineer come in to look at it. It was going to cost them $41 million to repair that building. They don't have the money. They're interested in trying to do something because of the danger of the building, and they're currently approaching the THC to see what they can do with that contract because they made the decision to go off and build a new one for $26 million that was twice the size. So I just wonder where it puts us as far as, if we're going to end up funding it ourselves. Thanks, Donna.
Mr. Yarder?
Good morning. I'm here to speak on items 7 and 8 on the agenda. I and many others support the removal of Commissioner Hummel as the owner representative for Phase 1, the removal of the addition and restoration of the west side of the Karnes County Courthouse. In addition, I would also ask that Commissioner Hummel not be considered for any future tasks due to his failure to represent Karnes County properly to date. He supported the contractor when the contractor failed to properly seal a room above the sheriff's office, which resulted in damaging and destroying computers and other equipment, which should have been charged to the contractor. The requirement under the state law for asbestos payment is totally sealed room for water and other debris, not partially sealed room. It was their error and they should pay. As a result, the county paid approximately $50,000 for the replacement of that equipment. Commissioner Hummel then supported the contractor when they submitted a request for overcharges in an amount of approximately, or a little over $25,000, which was eventually disapproved by the Commissioner's Court. These actions appear, at least to me, to be a conflict of interest, in that it appears that he is working for the State Historical Commission and representing the contractor and not representing Karnes County. It's very clear that Commissioner Hummel is not qualified by her experience or education to have this job. Commissioner Hummel has, in my opinion, showed clearly he has no loyalty to Karnes County by his actions, and be removed from this position and not be given any further responsibility as he is asking for in other items on this morning's agenda. As to item 8, the request for proposal is not necessary for professional services. I'm recommending that Matt Dockery be appointed as his own representative for Karnes County. Matt Dockery has the requisite experience and qualifications for this position and would properly and responsibly represent Karnes County. It is my opinion that Matt Dockery will perform his duties with honesty, integrity, and loyalty to Karnes County. I would also ask that Mr. Dockery appoint a committee of one person from each precinct, not to include any commissioners, and to ensure that Sue Carter is among one of those members and to represent her precinct. This would involve the citizens of Karnes County to participate in the planning and execution of restoring the Karnes County Courthouse based on future grants from the Texas Historical Commission, and to make sound, objective recommendations to the Commissioner's Court. That will be in our best interest and protect our financial resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garner.
Matt Dockery.
I'm here to talk about the line item 7 about removing Carl as representative or restoration. I don't know, I didn't read it, but I was at one of y'all's swearing-ins. I know y'all have a code of conduct. Y'all are supposed to act accordingly as a commissioner. I don't believe you can use the language Carl uses. I don't believe you can attack somebody's professionalism, somebody's integrity. Surely, all of us in this courtroom were taught that you, if he's elderly, you respect him, 1, for being elderly, 2, because they probably know a little more than you do. And the way Carl attacked Pete last Saturday was uncalled for. That's probably why his name's on this agenda to be removed. He doesn't have the professional capability of taking somebody's outlook on something and transferring it to the court or to the builder or to whoever without yelling or screaming at me or Pete. James, if he was yelling and screaming at you, I'd be up here talking for you. Tracy, I'd be up here talking for you. And vice versa, Carl. If either one of them were unprofessional, yelling and screaming at you, I'd be up here talking for them. You cannot conduct yourself in that manner. So, in that respect, I'm asking y'all to go out and find somebody that does this for a living, somebody that's not from the county, that can conduct themselves in a professional manner and work for the county, both sides, biased. They got to be biased in this thing. They can't have a for and against. They have to have, is this construction being done according to the specifications required? And be it at that, and I hope y'all consider that today.
Thank you, Mr. Dockery.
Mr. Stubbs.
I would first like to, I'd like to speak to number 22 specifically, but I'd first like to echo Mr. Shockman's concerns and above all, I'd like to applaud the court for recognizing how desperately underfunded the sheriff's office is. I was kind of hoping to see that it would include some sort of maybe pay structure changes and maybe wage increases to increase the employee retention. But I understand baby steps here, with things a little bit at a time. I do, though, however, question the timing of this, and again, echo Mr. Shockley's concerns, because we do have an election coming up, and we might consider allowing whoever is elected to that particular office handle these arrangements. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Maggie Hunt.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing us to speak. In December, shortly after our last meeting of the year, when we were discussing the upcoming movements at the courthouse, court ordered the only planning committee and only architects could go on site. Historical Commission, which I represent, was told we could not go. That was fine with us. So under those charges of not allowing anyone but the architects and the planning committee and the contractors on site, when we got the phone call from the contractor or the site supervisor that we had 2 trespassers on site, we get phone calls daily because it is a historical commission's project. We said call the sheriff, not knowing who the individuals were. Had there been consideration between Mr. Yower picking up a phone call saying, hey, Carl, meet me down at the courthouse. Matt wants to walk through it. I'm sure Mr. Hummel would have said, let's call the judge to see how she handled it. I'm under orders. And it would have been handled a little different. But there was trespassing, and following orders, they were asked to leave. We went to Austin Friday, and we came home, not surprised, but we came home with the burden of knowing why we didn't get the grant. Karnes County Historical Commission are not politicians, we're historians. Y'all have selected to be politicians. We came home knowing we lost the grant to 6 points. 2 points were taken for county leadership and 4 for non-compliance with their contracts. That moved us down 2 blocks, and that is why we're 14% ahead on our project. Well, we spent it, as we didn't get the grant, county, because we're 14% behind. We didn't want to humiliate the court that it was your actions this past year of county leadership and not being compliant with your contracts that they removed 6 points. We went from 189 to 183, and 2 more counties moved ahead of us. That's y'all's burden. The election, the voters wanted this project. Your actions did not get us the money this year. We'll try again in 2 years. That's no problem. You inherited this problem. This court inherited the challenge. And I understand that. We all understand that. But everyone is watching.
Maggie.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you, Ms. Hunt.
Any more, Carol?
That's it. I'm sorry. I miscounted.
Okay, the next what we're going to do is we're going to start presentations for the Karnes County Jail and Detention Center submitted by the following architects. Mr. Martinez has included a handout here of the times how he set them up. Where's Beto? There you are, I'm sorry. And we're going to start with Southwest Architects, followed by Burns, then Daly Spears, CRA, David Ramirez, DRG, and then Oslin. When we do these presentations, and I didn't open the envelope for one reason, is I didn't want anybody to think we were looking at some and not others. So they're up here, and I'll pass them out as we get ready to go into these. But when we start Southwest Architects, I respectfully ask that the other 6 architects move to this other side of the room. I can't close this front door because it's deemed open court, so please move over there, because I can close that door, but one of them needs to go. Are you looking at me to say something? And so if Southwest Architects would stay,
And everybody else, if you're with an architect firm, please go to the other side of the building. We appreciate it. Sheriff, these people have drawings, plans. If you need to see them, you need to come up here if you want to see some
Yes,
kind of
ma'am.
PowerPoint or presentation. And I'm going to open number 1. Are you Jeff?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Jeff Hufflinger, Southwest Architects. Quickly pass out.
I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Jimmy Craig?
Jimmy Craig didn't come with me. Thank y'all very much for having us down. We appreciate the opportunity to visit with you. All the angles, what I call it.
Are the rest of the architects out? Are they all out? Is everybody out?
Nobody got up.
They're gone?
Well, nobody got up.
Yes, Mr. Burns left.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there were some people in
Yes.
here. Oh, you know what? I bet they stayed out a while ago when they came in. You're right. Okay, thanks, bye. I knew they were here. How many packages do you have? Carl, Tracy. Tracy. Bob. The next one here, you want it?
I apologize. Okay, my name's Jeff Hufflinger, Southwest Architects. Nice to meet you, sir. Jeff Hufflinger, nice to meet you.
Barbara Shaw.
Thanks, well, Sheriff. Jeff Hufflinger, sir. Jeff Hufflinger. Jeff Hufflinger, sir. I'm Jeff Hufflinger. Okay, my 15 minutes are up, I'm done. Thank y'all very much for having us here. Southwest Architects has been in business since 1985, practicing in Fort Worth, Texas. We've represented counties. If you took Texas and made it a rectangle, we've been in all 4 corners. But Texas isn't a rectangle, so we worked in Brewster County, worked in San Jacinto County, worked in Bowie County in Texarkana, and worked in the Panhandle. I don't know if it gets, and we're working in Ward County right now. So traveling is our middle name. We very much enjoy what we do. We're not a huge staff, but being that we've been in business for 27 years, I feel like we're a successful staff. Our main goal is when we enter into every interview, we're actually doing our best to present to you the facts that Southwest Architects is a personal service business. We've worked for most of our county clients 2 to 3, 4 times. The best part is when you leave a client and they call you back for another project, it was a successful project. That's the way we approach every project. Tam Terry, the sheriff in Carson County who represents the small county sheriffs on the jail commission, we just completed his project. And if you read his letter in there, it's kind of unique. I've never got a recommendation letter like that before, but he says, Jeff, when you interviewed, he said, you told us you were interviewing for the next project. And he says, quite frankly, and I think it's a quote, we thought that was kind of BS. But he put it in our letter and he said it wasn't. I take a lot of pride in that. We've represented counties on 15, 20 jails, 30 jails, 20 jails anyway, all over the state. This is kind of our niche area in terms of design. We look to these projects that are smaller in nature. That seems to be the niche across the state that people have focused with us on. In that, we've never exceeded a budget. Now, we're not ones to go in with a high budget either. You've got Cadillacs, you got Volkswagens. We're Chevrolet trucks, okay? Ford pickup trucks. That's what we look to do. Cost-effective, maintenance-free design. And you can go to projects that we've done 7, 10 years ago. I know the sheriff got a phone call from one of our sheriffs. That's another thing. Those relationships continue. It seems like when somebody knows we're going to interview, they call them. And I know David Walker, for example, called Sheriff Jalufka about, we did a project for them almost 9 years ago. You walk into that project today, and if Sheriff Walker has any issues, he can call me still. He's got my home phone number. My home phone number is in every commissioner's cell phone that we work. The bottom line is we're accessible. When we go to a project, our design, our process, we have a great relationship with the jail commission. Our costs are generally in the middle range in terms of cost for facilities, but the long range expectations of our clients are always met, like I said, and we're there forever, bottom line. You know, you don't stay in business as long as that. We pride ourselves, and there's not a lot of architectural firms in the state of Texas been in business 27 years under the same name. Actually, we had to change when we incorporated, but because the other name wasn't available. But other than that, that's the way we do it. So the bottom line is we're cost conscious, we're design conscious, and we're client-based service. And that's what we want to project. You probably, if you're going to try to win a design award, that's not our goal. Our goal is to be the best we can be for our clients. If somebody asks, do you like square or do you like rectangle? I've heard that question before. We like our clients' needs. That's what we do. None of our jails are a repeat jail. We literally design each jail for our client. Currently, we're working in 4 counties, or just completing 4 county jails. And the one jail we've done was the first that Texas Commission on Jail Standards highlighted in their first newsletter for Young County. We just finished a 96-bed unique jail in Howard County, and they just hired us, just finalized contracts last week for the law enforcement center to go with it, a joint center with Big Springs PD, another repeat business. But the bottom line is the uniqueness of each of our projects. Shackelford County is the first 24-bed jail built in the state of Texas in over 30 years. We're meeting our needs of our clients. Flexibility in design. Flex Cells, we were the firm that developed Flex Cells. When we look at a 48-bed jail or a 24-bed jail or a 96-bed jail, with the days incarceration rates the way they are, females are up and down. They can be 5% or 30%. We make our jails flexible. We can take a 48-bed jail, and we've got Archer County and Carson County that are just completed. We can go up to 22 females or be as few as 8. And still meet every jail standard. The flexibility that gave that sheriff was unique, very unique. And the jail commission recognized that. In one of our designs recently for another county, they, in their letter to the county, said innovative design. It was innovative design because in a 96-bed jail, you could house 48 females or 48 males or as few as 12. Bottom line is it's very important to give your sheriff flexibility. As far as construction, I hear some issues that you're dealing with. That's not an issue with Southwest Architects. We are on site every single week. We have a licensed architect in our firm that goes to every job every week, bar none. Unless it's rained all week, you'll be there. He makes the meetings with the construction consultant, the construction manager, if whatever. So we're hands-on. We're hands-on. We make those meetings. Once a month, we report to a liaison. We love committee to take care of the project. It sounded like you are starting that process in your courthouse. That is critical to us. If you'll notice, I gave each of you, and I'm about finished, is a process that we take at Southwest Architects to handle a program like this. You'll notice that we look at, in a first phase of this project, we get the whole team put together because it takes the full team to bring to this court the best recommendations for every phase of this project. And we start putting that project team together at the start, and they stay with this project through the completion. And time is of the essence. Carson County Jail was built in 9 months. 9 months. We moved them in 9 months. And listen, Tam Terry wasn't going to accept anything short of the best. It's got a complete video visitation system, complete electronic court. It has an emergency operations center in it that actually is funded outside by an outside agency, Pantex, that they have over $300,000 worth of electronics in one single room because of the uniqueness of their region. That facility was open. It was actually finished in 8 months and a week, but we gave them 3 weeks of training. It's important to make the sheriff and his staff ready to rock and roll, and that's what we believe. So our goal is when we're hired, that we create a relationship with our client. 2, that when we leave our client, that relationship is wholly intact to the point where they're willing to recommend us to anybody else. And 3, when they got another project, they call us back. That's our goal. And through that whole process, it's important to have a complete team. The only I in team is the guy that left. That's the way we look at it. And with that, I answer any questions.
Like I said, on the females, this is something that, we've already had 1, 2, but right now, I'm sitting on 5 females and 33 people in the jail as we speak right now. The female aspect is real serious here in Orange County.
And Sheriff, it's not unique in your county, as you well know. You hear about it all over the state. And I bet you, if I'm a betting man, that it could be 10 if you had the space. I just know that, because the problem is we have to take law enforcement to the maximum ability of our community, and I understand that. It's a challenge everywhere we go. That's why, to me, that flexibility is critical in the design of this facility. And also, think about this. You know, unfortunately, crime is not going away, and so master planning this facility to us is absolutely the most critical part of the start of this project. We have a lot of input at the state when it comes to how to do it. Jack Crump with our firm was the director for 13 years. He would have been here this morning, but he's a little under the weather. He had an operation here a couple weeks ago. He's not able to travel right now, but Jack is an asset to our firm, and he helps us, and he helps us be real outside of the box when it comes to, he can give us that law enforcement side of the, you know, we draw pictures, he tells us how they work better. And that's what's critical for our whole team. So that's part of our process, is that bringing in all these people. And from a cost standpoint, it's a bonus for the county because it's a no cost. So,
And I know Commissioner Yarn, the judge here, we both met, or all 3 of us, and Bob, we met him during the jail commission. We left our office for pleading our case to keep our little jail open.
Yes, sir.
Until we get this over story. So they know them firsthand.
And the best, and the one thing about the jail commission is, you know, they're reasonable people. They're there to help you, and I know that they've told you, you guys proceed, and we'll bless you for a while. And they're good about that. Carson County, even though that sheriff was on the jail commission, they put the hammer on him pretty hard too at the time, and you know, it's pretty tough when you're the boss of the guy that's putting the hammer on. But they understand these things, and they're good to work with. And quite frankly, sometimes we as architects can help you tweak things to keep them in the best condition. And that's another option that you have with us, is that we're there to help. Like I said, we want to create that relationship. And please understand, don't take Fort Worth as a bad location for an architectural firm. We're almost the center of the state. And like I said, I love to drive. I kid about my big truck and my baby car. My baby car gets me to work, my big truck gets me to the ranch. But the bottom line is driving is not a problem for us. Working in Ward County or the Panhandle, you're closer. It's actually nice. It's kind of like a little closer shop for us. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day. Good luck to you on your project.
Thank you.
I was okay, right? Okay.
We still have 3 minutes.
How many more questions?
You guys have got to look at 1035, David Ramirez is canceled. And 1035 is canceled. 1035. I mean, yes, 1035. You guys
That's okay, whenever you're ready.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay. I'm Kenny Burns with Burns Architecture. I've met, I think, most of you. I'm here to tell you all about us and hopefully get you to ask a lot of questions. That's always my preference, is to tell you a little bit about us, but really try to get you guys to ask questions that are important to you so that I can give you the answers that you're looking for. To give you and the folks that are sitting here a little background on Burns Architecture, I've been in this business 32 years now, and the last 27 years pretty much focused on the architecture of jails. And so I also have a 27-year relationship with the Jail Commission that has been ongoing. We do work all over the state of Texas. We're based in Fort Worth, and projects that are close to y'all that we have done that you might recognize is the jail at DeWitt County, Cuero, Aransas County at Rockport, Lee County at Giddings, and jails everywhere. I have personally been involved in over 60 jail projects in the state of Texas, and that accounts for over 9,000 jail beds that we put in service. Because we don't do a lot of other things, we're really focused on jail and county work. You know, we don't do schools, and we don't do hospitals, and we don't do people's houses and things like that. All we do is jail. So our whole staff, from the people that are drawing the plans for me all the way through my construction folks, everybody's focused on jail design work. And as you look through our brochure there, you're going to see pictures and one thing and another, and I want you to take all that in and ask questions. And I think you'll also find in there's a map that will give you a pretty good idea of where we've worked all over the state. It's no big deal for us to travel to go anywhere like Karnes County. It's just what we do. Now also, as most of you I think know, the sheriff and Commissioner Gower came to see one of our facilities, and that's the new jail we just finished at Blanco County. And we asked them to come over there when we talked to them because we felt like it was a jail that was very close to what y'all need. I won't say that any jail is a perfect cookie cutter for any county, but the size and the things that it had in it we thought was a good match maybe to start talking. And so we asked them to come over and look at that. And because of it, I'm going to hand out something just so y'all can see what they saw. Kind of have a little picture book. It's only Blanco County, but it's got a lot of photographs of what Blanco County looks like. And so y'all can pass that around while I'm talking and take a peek at it. Of course, you know, the job of your architect is not only to draw a set of plans, but the way we like to put it together, the plans are just a tool to getting your jail built. We're going to sit down with the Commissioner's Court and the sheriff and whoever the designated representatives of the county are, and develop the plan that works exactly the way you want to work it. And we're going to develop the budget, we're going to put the plans, the whole design together. We're going to help you find the contractor. The method of construction that I prefer is construction manager at risk, where we can go out and find a qualified jail builder to build this. We want somebody that's done this before, that knows the ropes of building jails. There are several good ones out there that would come down here and build for you. We want to go that route because we can assure you that you're going to be satisfied when you get through when you do that. If you go the low bid route, that's going to assure you that you won't be happy. If you go construction management at risk, the construction manager still has to bid the work out to all the subcontractors. So you're still getting competitive bidding as you do that. But once we get all that in place and we start into construction, we stay with you throughout the whole project. We'll be down here on site at least twice a month, and more often when we need it. There are certain times that are critical in the construction of a jail that we feel like we need to be there more often, particularly when the foundation's going in and the slabs are going down, because it's concrete. Once we put it in place, it's got to be right, because we can't move it. We can move walls, but it's a lot harder to move that foundation if it's not done just the way we want it to do. And there's so much going on in the jail. There's lots of plumbing, there's lots of floor drains, there's slopes in the slab. That's what gets so critical. And then of course, you get into the security electronics and all the detention equipment. Everything about a jail is very expensive because it's so specialized. It's a building that's not really built for any other use other than to house inmates. And so it is very costly to build, and has lots of special details and things to it that architect that doesn't practice this kind of work doesn't really know about, and a contractor that doesn't build this kind of work is not going to be familiar with either. And it's very important to us, though, that we're with you all the way, like I said, through the jail commission reviews and getting their approvals so that we can keep moving forward all the way to we finish construction and making sure that the punch list is done and the contractor has done everything he's supposed to do by his contract so that you're satisfied when the project's done. Now, I will tell you, just to give you an idea, this little Blanco County Jail that we did over at Johnson City, that project cost $5.2 million. And that was, we started that job nearly 2 years ago. So you have to factor that in when you start thinking about the cost of these things. Excuse me. I will tell you this, though, the contractor that built it, and they're a contractor I would recommend to you, they told McCullough County, which is west of Austin, that they could build that same jail today for the same amount of money. Now, that was a stunning statement coming from a contractor, but it's because the labor market is still so far down. Material costs are coming up, we know that. If you move fairly quickly and whoever you select and try to get something going, you should be okay in your construction costs. But I do believe that your facility, even if you built the Blanco County Jail again here and with some modifications and possibly a courtroom like we've discussed, you're probably looking at $5.5 to $6 million. That's just my gut feel right now. Of course, if you hire us, we're going to develop the plans and we're going to develop a more specific budget to tell you what it's going to cost, excuse me, before you go out and borrow money or do whatever you have to do. And we're going to look at a budget that's not just construction costs. We have to look at the total budget. Construction cost is hard cost. You need to know the total figure, which includes all the soft costs that go into it. We would be remiss if we didn't tell you what we thought the full cost of this thing would be. And we'll help you, guide you all the way through this, and Mr. Martinez with financing, whatever we can do to help there, and provide all the information that's necessary to secure that financing as we move forward. Like I said, we're at the jail commission all the time. It's not a big deal for us to go down there. We know them very well. In fact, I will be at the jail commission Friday to review another jail plan with them Friday morning. We had to push it off to Friday because obviously, as I'm sure y'all know, you're on the agenda for Thursday. So that's why we're going in on Friday. I thought you had a question.
No. I know we're on the agenda for Thursday. I think we wrote a letter and stuff. We might be there, we might not. We're just kind of waiting on a phone call.
Sure. Well, I understand they have a light agenda. I debated whether or not I was going to go to it, but since I've got to be there Friday, and of course, we're available anytime. You know, if you select us to go to the jail commission, do whatever we have to do to basically run interference for you and represent your interest in front of the jail commission. We've done it for a long time. Very experienced at doing that. Again, I don't like to talk a lot about myself and what we do. I've been doing this a long time. I'd rather focus on your project and focus my energies there. So if there's questions you've got, I'd like to answer them.
Well, like I said, I know me and Pete went up there and looked at your jail, because Aaron was seeing all the jails we was looking at was all square-looking jails, or huge jails, like the one in DeWitt County and one in Lake County and stuff like that. Getting like kind of not went in through it, but I kind of went up there and met the sheriff a while back. So, and I know one thing you got going in your favor, that you have Terry Julian on there, who was like the founding father pretty much of the jail commission, because he ran it. He was the director.
He was there for a long time.
For a long, long time. So he knows ins and outs of the jails. That's one thing you have in your favor, that he knows how to build a jail.
Right. Well, and you've been to Lee County, or at least seen the outside. You know Rodney Meyer. I'm actually, when I'm through here, I'm going to Lee County. We have been doing continual work for them, and I have a meeting this afternoon with the auditor to see if we can't get some of that stuff paid. So I told them I would clear out of here and head their way in just a little bit. But that jail is actually 107 beds. So it's what I believe to be twice as big as what you need. And that thing, when we built it, cost about $8 million, I believe. That's a few years ago. But again, I think based on what we've talked to y'all about and what we know, a 48 to 50 bed jail would work for you. The jail at Johnson City at Blanco County is 49 beds. Of course, I'm not going to go into why it's 49 beds and why it's not 48. It gets complicated, and so we'll save that for another discussion on another day. But we've done jails that are 54 beds, 53 beds, 48, 49. They basically all are 48-bed jails, but it's a complicated, not real complicated, but too complicated to sit here and try to explain to everybody in the audience how we come up with these crazy numbers. But that looks like that's what will do you well. You know, one of the things that is very important to me is to design you a jail that is very economical to build and maintain. We're not looking for cheap. We're looking for good quality at the best price we can get that provides the best value to the county. It has to be built and designed in such a manner that it will be long-lasting and durable. These things take a lot of abuse. We can't cut corners, but we have to keep an eye on the cost all the time. So we're not going to Cadillac it, but we're going to do things that will help keep the cost down. Like you see in those photos of Blanco County, it looks like a metal building on 3 sides. Well, it's really not. That's just the skin on the outside. It's a hardened jail on the inside. And then we put stone on the outside, on the front, because they're in the hill country and that's what they wanted. They wanted it to look like a hill country building. One of the compliments we got on that building, when the jail commission came, they said they drove by it twice before they finally found it, because it didn't look like a jail. That was the marching orders given to me by the judge and the sheriff. Don't draw attention to it because we're in Johnson City, it's tourists, it's right on the highway. Downplay it. We don't want somebody to think it's a jail. And then the jail commission, who's in the business, said they drove by it twice before they said, wait, there's the jail. So, you know, that's what we're after. We want to build economically, but we want to take care of what your needs are. And there's so many different ways to do it. You talked about square jails. That's my forte. Now, you saw DeWitt County. Now, the exterior of the building is square. The interior of DeWitt, because it's a pod, it is everything or anything but square. But that's because it's a modular design. Your jail at a 48-bed size would need to be linear. A small jail does not work very well in the modular design. That needs to, you start getting bigger jails, that's when the modular starts working. And you probably could do it, but it gets really tough to do because you got males and females trying to mix in. But a linear, like you saw at Blanco County, that thing's squared up. You know, that's where we get our economies. I'm not trying to win a design award. I haven't won one yet for a jail. No county has asked me to do that yet. And if y'all wanted me to, we could try. But I don't think that's what you want. I don't think it's what the taxpayers want. It needs to be a building that's functional and, you know, attractive enough that you'd be proud of it to be a county building, but not something that's so over the top that your taxpayers think you have foolishly spent their money.
Well, I'm kinda like when me and Pete drove up there to look at it. We drove right by it too, we was looking. I mean, I've been all over Johnson City several times in Hill Country. We actually drove by it, straight by it on 281. Never, didn't comment about a new building, but we, and like I said, it just blend right in with the rest of the community. And that's kind of where when we got back from there, when we had our little discussion here, one thing I was looking at, kind of like I was over at Jody's over in DeWitt County, you had that enclosed area for the rec room.
Absolutely.
I was there yesterday at a jail yesterday, and I was looking at it, and they was leaving it open, but it was out in the country. And this one here is going to be in the city of Corn City. And that was one thing I looked at real hard, was that rec room, and it had that plexiglass bubble over it, so they can't hear, see, smell, anything.
And that's what you want. We want to be good neighbors. We don't want folks on the street, kids, to hear what's going on in there. Because, I mean, at least the sheriff, and some of you know, and everybody in the audience may not know that, but you know, these aren't the nicest people that are in jail, and the language and stuff. If we leave them exposed to the public, particularly in a downtown environment, there's going to be things going on and being said that we don't want mom and the kids hearing. So we advocate to you that you enclose that and make it an indoor space. Then it's usable all year round. If it's an outdoor space, see, today would be a bad day, they couldn't exercise them. It's freezing cold, it's hard to exercise them. If it's enclosed, it's used all the time. We don't have to worry about anybody trying to climb out. We don't have to worry about anybody trying to climb in or anybody hearing what's going on in there. So it's a really good thing to do, in my opinion.
Kenny, your 15 minutes are up.
Okay.
Kenny, can we keep this?
Sure.
Or is this yours? Do you want
No,
this?
I'll let you keep it. No
Well,
problem.
if you didn't intend to leave it, you don't have to, but.
Yeah, we've got the photos are on the computer. We can print it again. It's just a little book I made up for somebody, and I don't remember who I made it up for. And of course, if you look on the back, I don't remember what that is, but I was sketching an idea for somebody's plan, so. That's what we do. Okay, thank y'all for your
Thank you,
time.
Kenny, for your leadership.
Appreciate your interest in our firm. Look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Sorry.
Morning, ladies, gentlemen. My name is Lorraine Daly, principal of Daly and Spear Architects, and this is Morgan Spear, also principal of Daly and Spear Architects, and Catherine Lindquist, she's our project manager in our San Antonio office. We would like to start this presentation with just a quick quick history, I don't get quick and detailed, of our collaborative experience, Morgan's and my 22 years of collaborative experience working together. I started my career and internship right out of college in 1987, working under the direction of Ed Gondek. He was a premier Texas jail architect in Texas at the time. During that time, I worked with Morgan on many jail projects, working under Gondek's sphere.
My career started probably back in junior high as working in construction work, which I just loved, and all the way through high school on into college. And so when I got out of high school, I said, where do I go to school to learn about construction? There was nothing. There wasn't a course. So I became an architect. I went to school of architecture, graduated from architect, and have been practicing ever since. I am a real stickler when it comes to construction. Lorraine, in this particular case, is going to head up this project, the design, and I'm going to be heavily involved when it comes down to the construction. It's got to be done right. There's no give or take. It's got to follow the drawings. And I'm a real stickler when it comes to the project getting completed as designed.
In 1994, I formed a partnership, Daly Rapkin Gondek, also known as DRG, and for 6 years continued on with my jail experience and design in that specialized field. In 2002, Morgan and I formed Daly and Spear Architects, and we have over 64 jail and detention facility projects that we've completed over our careers. And then Catherine's kind of showing you, or since we don't have a PowerPoint, we're flipping through what we handed out. So she has the page that I'm working off of. My experience, again, 25 years of experience dedicated and focused in jail and detention design. It essentially has been my entire career. 48 jail and detention facility projects. Morgan Spear, 47 years of experience in architecture with 22 years designing jail and detention facilities. So what makes Daly and Spear different? One is the way that we've structured our firm. We've structured it so that you have 100% of the focused experience of your principal architects on your project. How do we do that? Our commitment to Karnes County is we only have one project, one jail project under design at a time that ensures you have that focused attention. My 25 years focused attention spread out over 5 or 6 projects doesn't give you what we've committed to you. We've committed that focused attention to make sure that you have that experience. Your